Your legs aren't just tired. That little flutter in your calf, that insistent twitching in your thigh while you try to read a book, isn't just a random sign of getting older or walking too much. It is a desperate distress signal from deep inside your body. Think of your body like the dashboard of a classic car you've owned for 60 years. You know every sound, every rattle. When the oil light starts to flicker, you don't take a hammer and smash the little red bulb to make the annoyance stop. You don't just put a piece of black tape over it and keep driving down the highway at 70 miles an hour. That would be insane. You pull over immediately. You check the engine, because you know that a tiny blinking light is a warning of a catastrophic failure down the road. That twitch in your muscle or that little flutter in your eyelid that won't go away is that blinking red light. Your nervous system is screaming at you in the only language it has. It is trying to tell you that the engine is running on fumes, that the core electrical system is about to short circuit. Most people, especially after 55, ignore this signal. Or worse, they misinterpret it completely. They rub the muscle, maybe they drink a glass of plain tap water, and they try to go back to sleep. Then, 3 hours later, they are jolted awake, screaming in agony, because that little twitch has violently seized up into a knot of pain hard enough to leave a bruise. It feels like a Charlie horse sent from hell, but it won't let go. But here is the truly terrifying part, the part that supplement companies and even some doctors won't tell you. A recent survey from the AARP revealed that over 77% of older adults are taking supplements. But a staggering 90% of people trying to fix this specific problem, twitching and cramps, are grabbing the wrong bottle off the shelf. They are guessing. They take a mineral because their neighbor mentioned it at a cookout. They read a single headline on the internet and buy a bottle of pills. If you take a heavy dose of magnesium when your heart is actually crying out for potassium, you are not just wasting money. You are playing a dangerous game of Russian roulette with your body's most critical electrical system. You can actually disrupt the delicate rhythm of your heart. You can make the crushing fatigue you feel every afternoon 10 times worse. You are faced with two futures right now. One where you continue guessing, where the twitches get worse, sleep becomes impossible, and your risk of a serious fall or a cardiac event increases. Or a second future, where in the next few minutes you learn exactly what your body is asking for, and you give it the precise fuel it needs to run smoothly, quietly, and strongly for decades to come. We are going to fix your internal battery right now. We are going to stop the guessing game before you make a mistake that lands you in an emergency room. And I have to warn you, the single most important piece of information is a specific ratio, a golden ratio of two key minerals that must be in perfect balance to shut off this neurological static. Most people get this ratio completely backwards, which is why their supplements fail. I am going to give you those exact numbers, the secret code to unlock your muscles, but I'm saving it for the very end, because without understanding the basics first, the numbers won't make any sense. Stay with me, because this last piece of the puzzle is the one that changes everything. Let's get the biggest, most pervasive lie out of the way first. This is the myth that has kept millions of people in pain and confusion for over 50 years. Everyone, and I mean absolutely everyone, from your grandmother to your high school gym coach, tells you to eat a banana if you get a leg cramp. Your doctor, in a hurry to get to the next patient, might have even mumbled it as you walked out the door. It is not just bad advice, it is biologically damaging advice. A modern banana, selectively bred for sweetness, is a sugar bomb. It is nature's candy bar, wrapped in a convenient yellow peel. From a metabolic standpoint, it has barely enough potassium to move the needle on a serious deficiency, but it has more than enough sugar to cause a tidal wave of problems. Let's look at the cold, hard math. The National Institutes of Health recommends that adults get a massive 4,700 milligrams of potassium every single day for optimal nerve and heart function. Your average banana contains about 400 milligrams. To hit your daily target, you would need to sit at your kitchen table and force down 11.5 bananas in a row. Can you even imagine the stomach ache, the bloating, the gas, the sheer misery of that? But it gets so much worse. All of that concentrated fruit sugar, the fructose, does one thing with terrifying efficiency. It spikes your insulin. It creates a massive blood sugar wave that your pancreas has to struggle to contain. And what follows a sugar spike? A sugar crash, leaving you feeling exhausted and shaky. And even more importantly, what does that inflammatory cascade do to your nerves? It irritates them. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire. It makes them raw, sensitive, and even more prone to wrist firing. So you eat the banana for your twitching leg, you get a brief sugar rush, and 2 hours later, as you're trying to sleep, the twitch comes roaring back, only now it's worse because your entire system is inflamed and on high alert. We need to stop looking at cartoon characters for our medical advice. We need to look at the actual high-octane fuel your muscles are designed to run on. Your muscles are sophisticated biological engines. You wouldn't put pancake syrup in the gas tank of your car and expect it to run. It's time to stop treating your body like a garbage disposal and expecting it to perform like a finely tuned machine. Now let's talk about the superstar of the supplement aisle, magnesium. This is the one everyone buys. It's marketed as the great relaxer. It's the mineral that tells your muscles to chill out, to let go. When it works, the feeling is profound. It's like finally taking the emergency brake off after you've been driving with it on for a week, feeling that resistance just melt away. If you are truly low on magnesium, your muscle fiber stays locked in a state of partial contraction. It receives the signal to tighten, but it never fully gets the signal to release. It forgets how to let go. So you go to the pharmacy or the grocery store. You're faced with a wall of 50 different bottles, all screaming magnesium. You buy the biggest bottle for the cheapest price because, hey, magnesium is magnesium, right? Completely wrong. I want you to go to your medicine cabinet right now. Pause this video if you have to. Pick up your bottle of magnesium. Look at the fine print on the back. Does it say magnesium oxide? If it does, I want you to walk to your trash can and throw it out. What you bought is basically expensive sidewalk chalk. It's a cheap form of magnesium that is very difficult for the human body to use. Your digestive system absorbs, on a good day, about 4% of the magnesium from that pill. The other 96% is unabsorbable. It just travels through your intestines like a wrecking ball, drawing water into your colon and creating an explosive laxative effect. It doesn't fix the twitch in your leg, it just sends you sprinting to the bathroom with disaster pants. It is a complete and utter waste of money. You are literally flushing your cash down the toilet. To get the mineral into your bloodstream and into your muscle cells where it's needed, you need a form that is chelated, which is just a fancy word meaning it's attached to an amino acid your body recognizes. Look for names that end in "ate", like magnesium glycinate, citrate, or malate. Those are the forms that have a VIP pass to cross from your gut into your blood. But even if you get the right kind, simply taking magnesium by itself is a recipe for failure. Why? Because these minerals do not work in isolation. They work in a delicate, beautiful symphony. There is a very specific golden ratio of potassium to magnesium that acts like a master key, unlocking the nervous system and shutting off the twitch almost instantly. Most people, by taking a big magnesium pill and eating a low potassium diet, get this ratio completely upside down. If you get the numbers wrong, the twitch stays, and you're left wondering why the pills don't work. If magnesium is the relaxer, the brake pedal, then potassium is the charger, the accelerator. It is the mineral that is primarily responsible for holding the electrical charge inside your cells. Think of each of your muscle cells as a tiny, rechargeable battery. Potassium is the battery acid. If the battery can't hold a full charge, it flickers and fails. When you run low on potassium, the electrical stability of your nerve cells collapses. They become hair trigger sensitive. They turn into one of those motion sensor lights on your garage that goes off every time a leaf blows by. The muscle fires randomly, explosively, when you didn't tell it to. This is the deep biological reason why your leg suddenly kicks out when you're just trying to sit peacefully in your recliner. You aren't moving, you aren't even thinking about moving, but your leg's internal wiring is shorting out, and it thinks you are running a marathon. It thinks it needs to save you from a non-existent threat. This creates that maddening sensation of being tired but wired. Your mind and body are bone-deep exhausted, but your legs feel like they need to dance a marathon. Try this. Comment "kick" down below if your legs only seem to go crazy the moment you finally sit down to rest at the end of the day. It's maddening, isn't it? The twitching waits until you are vulnerable, until you are trying to find peace, and then it attacks. And if you are on a low-carb diet like keto or even a carnivore diet, you need to listen very carefully. You are dumping massive amounts of water weight, especially in the first few weeks. That's great for the scale, but when you lose water-soluble minerals. You are literally flushing your potassium down the toilet every time you pee. You are draining your battery acid at an alarming rate. You absolutely must be strategic about refilling it, or the lights will go out. The twitching is just the first warning. The next sign is often heart palpitations or a terrifying flutter in your chest. We do not want to get there. Here is the third and most misunderstood player in this high-stakes game. The one your doctor has probably spent the last 20 years telling you to be afraid of. Salt, sodium. Here's a biological truth that cannot be ignored. You cannot hold onto potassium without adequate sodium. They are like inseparable dance partners. If one leaves the ballroom, the other one immediately follows. For decades, well-meaning doctors have been telling anyone over 50 to slash their salt intake to save their blood pressure. So you dutifully eat bland chicken, unseasoned vegetables, and cardboard-flavored crackers. You drink gallons and gallons of plain water because you think you are flushing out toxins and staying hydrated. Here is the shocking reality. When you drink large amounts of plain water without the corresponding minerals, you are not hydrating your cells. You are actively dehydrating them on a cellular level. You are washing your precious electrolytes out. You are drinking dead water. It goes right through you, taking your life-giving minerals with it straight into the toilet. You look at your urine and it's perfectly clear, and you think to yourself, that's healthy. It might actually be a sign that you are stripping your body of the very minerals your heart and muscles need to function. Your legs are twitching because they are starving for electrolytes, even though you are drinking water all day long. It's not about how much water you drink. It's about how much your body can actually absorb and keep. You need the water inside the cell, where the magic happens, not just passing through your bladder. Try. Find a good quality, unrefined sea salt, like Celtic sea salt or Redmond real salt. Before your next glass of water, put a single tiny grain on your tongue. Just one. Let it dissolve for a moment before you drink. That tiny amount of sodium and trace minerals completely changes the physics of the water, helping it pass through the cell membrane. It's the key that unlocks the door. So how do you know which one of these critical minerals you are missing? You don't want to guess and risk making things worse. I have a simple, safe test you can do right now, sitting in your chair. Generally speaking, a magnesium deficiency tends to show up in the smaller muscles first. If your eyelid has been twitching uncontrollably for a week, driving you crazy, that's often a classic cry for help from magnesium. It's incredibly annoying, but it's small. A potassium deficiency, on the other hand, tends to hit the big movers, the powerful quadriceps in your thighs, the heavy calf muscles, the hamstrings, the muscles responsible for carrying your entire body weight. But let's get more specific. Safety first. Stop this test immediately if you feel any sharp, shooting pain. And if you have a known history of blood clots or DVT, do not do this. Do not poke at a potential blood clot. That is a life-threatening emergency. But if you are safe to proceed, try this. Take your hand and gently but firmly squeeze your calf muscle. Really get your fingers in there and feel the texture of the tissue. Is it hard as a rock? Does it feel like a piece of cured wood or a cold steak, even when you are consciously trying to relax your leg? That is a muscle that is stuck in the on position. It cannot let go. That points directly to a magnesium deficiency. The parking brake is stuck on. Now, what if it feels different? What if the muscle feels soft, almost squishy or doughy to the touch, but you can feel it jumping and popping under your skin like a bag of microwave popcorn? That is an electrical issue. That is a battery that can't hold a charge. That points to a potassium deficiency. It's a simple diagnostic check, but it gives you a powerful clue. It tells you which bottle to reach for, and more importantly, which foods to prioritize. Before you even think about supplements, we have to look inside your medicine cabinet. The source of your problem might not be your diet at all. It might be your prescriptions. This is a massive, overlooked issue for anyone over 55. If you take blood pressure medication, specifically the class known as diuretics or water pills, you need to understand their mechanism. They are designed to make you urinate more frequently. They lower your blood pressure by flushing excess fluid from your system. But they are ruthless and indiscriminate. They don't just flush out water. They flush out water-soluble potassium right along with it. Taking a diuretic without actively replacing potassium is like trying to fill a bucket that has a giant hole in the bottom. You eat a potassium-rich salad, and the diuretic flushes those precious nutrients out of your system before your body even has a chance to use them. Or maybe you suffer from heartburn or acid reflux. You take those little purple pills, the proton pump inhibitors or PPIs. Those pills work by shutting down the acid production in your stomach. Here is the biological fact. You need strong stomach acid to absorb minerals, especially magnesium. The acid is required to break the mineral bonds in your food and supplements so your body can actually use them. If you block the acid, you block the mineral absorption. You are swallowing the supplement, but it's passing right through you, unabsorbed. It's a biological robbery happening inside your own body. You are paying good money for pills that your body is being prevented from accessing. Comment subscribe below if you want me to make a dedicated video on which common medications deplete which specific nutrients. It's a complex topic, but we can make it simple and life-changing. A crucial safety warning. Never, ever stop taking a prescribed medication without your doctor's explicit approval. The goal is not to stop the medication, but to be aware of what it's doing to your mineral levels so you can supplement intelligently and safely to counteract the side effects. I know the last thing you want to do is swallow another handful of giant, chalky horse pills. And honestly, high doses of isolated mineral supplements can be hard on older kidneys. Your body is infinitely smarter than a laboratory. It recognizes food. It knows what to do with an avocado. It has millions of years of evolutionary programming designed to extract nutrients from food, not from capsules filled with white powder. So let's go on a virtual trip to the grocery store. We are going right past the banana display. Don't even look at them. I want you to head straight for the avocados. A single creamy avocado has nearly twice the potassium of a banana, with almost zero sugar to spike your blood glucose. It's also packed with healthy monounsaturated fats that soothe your nervous system and fight inflammation. Slice one in half, sprinkle a little high-quality sea salt on it, and eat it right out of the skin with a spoon. It's nature's perfect food. Or get beet tops. This is a nutritional tragedy that happens in supermarkets every single day. You see people buying beautiful fresh beets, and they ask the grocer to chop off the vibrant green leaves and throw them in the trash. They are throwing the best part away. The green leaves on top of the beets are a potassium gold mine. They have more potassium per serving than almost any other vegetable on the planet. Don't throw them away. Cook them up just like you would spinach. Sauté them with a little garlic and olive oil. For magnesium, forget the pills and grab a bag of raw pumpkin seeds. Just a small handful while you watch television in the evening can significantly boost your magnesium levels. They are packed with it. And here is a kitchen secret that our great-grandparents knew, but our generation completely forgot. When you cook dark leafy greens like spinach, kale, or collard greens, don't boil them in a huge pot of water for 20 minutes and then dump all that precious water down the drain. The most powerful source of minerals is something you are currently pouring down the sink. When you boil or steam greens, the water turns a rich green color. That isn't dirt, that is the water-soluble minerals, the magnesium and potassium trying to escape. In the old days, they called this nutrient-dense broth pot liquor. It is liquid mineral therapy. If you dump that water, you are throwing away the medicine and eating the fiber. From now on, save that water. Drink it as a warm broth. Use it as a base for a soup. It doesn't taste like a sugary soda, but it will fix the twitch in your leg faster than almost anything else. All right, the moment you've been waiting for. Remember that golden ratio I told you about? The secret numbers that the supplement industry doesn't want you to know? The code that can finally stop the twitching? Here it is. I want you to write this down. Put it on a sticky note on your refrigerator. For optimal cellular function, your body operates best on a ratio of roughly 4,700 milligrams of potassium to about 400 milligrams of magnesium per day. Let that sink in. That is a ratio of more than 10 to 1. It's huge. Now think about what most people do. They hear magnesium is good for cramps, so they take a 400 or 500 milligram magnesium pill. But their diet, full of processed foods, provides maybe 1,000 or 1,500 milligrams of potassium. Their ratio is completely backwards, maybe 3 to 1 or 4 to 1, instead of the required 10 to 1. They are completely off balance. They have the brake pedal pushed to the floor, but there's no gas in the tank. That massive imbalance creates the neurological twitch zone. You are heavy on one side of the equation. You must focus on potassium-rich foods first. You need to relentlessly pursue that 4,700 milligram number. It is hard to do with food alone, which is why you have to be so deliberate and strategic. Let the magnesium be the supporting actor, not the star of the show. Get the potassium right, and the magnesium will finally be able to do its job correctly. Let's make this incredibly practical. I want to give you a simple, powerful tool you can use first thing in the morning. We call it the adrenal cocktail. It sounds fancy, but you can make it in your kitchen for less than 50 cents. You need 3 simple ingredients. First, about 4 ounces of orange juice. Fresh squeezed is best, but any kind without added sugar will work. This gives you a quick hit of potassium and, just as importantly, vitamin C for your adrenal glands. Second, a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Yes, that white powder in the spice aisle you use for making meringues. It's a byproduct of winemaking, and it is almost pure, highly absorbable potassium bitartrate. It's a cheap and incredibly effective potassium supplement. Third, a small pinch of a quality sea salt. That's your sodium and trace minerals. Mix it all up in a small glass. Drink it down. Now, I know what you are thinking. You just spent 5 minutes telling me sugar is the enemy, and now you want me to drink juice. Here is the crucial difference. We are using a tiny amount of natural glucose from the juice, not for taste, but as a strategic delivery system. It acts as a rapid transit vehicle. The small insulin response it creates actually helps to open the cell doors, allowing the potassium and sodium to rush inside the cell almost instantly. Without it, the minerals can float around in your bloodstream but struggle to get inside where they are needed. You need that key to turn the lock. We aren't drinking a 20-ounce bottle of juice. We are using a few ounces as medicine to deliver the minerals. A final critical safety check. This is non-negotiable. If you have been diagnosed with kidney disease, or if you are on heart medications, specifically a class called potassium-sparing diuretics, you must ask your clinician before you try this. If your kidneys cannot filter potassium correctly, it can build up in your blood to dangerous levels. You do not want to overdo it. But for the vast majority of people with healthy kidney function, this simple cocktail can feel like magic. Within minutes, your legs can begin to feel heavy, grounded, and wonderfully relaxed. The frantic, popping electricity finally stops. You can finally get a full night of deep, uninterrupted sleep. Now that you know how to fix the battery, you need to know how to maintain the engine for the long haul. There is another common leg symptom that many people confuse with a mineral deficiency, but it means something totally different and requires a different solution. Check out our other essential video, Magnesium or Potassium, which one your twitching legs actually need, by tapping the card on your screen right now.